Hey everyone, my name is Connor Parkinson. I'm the product manager here at Cloud Storage Security, and I wanted to show you guys something today. So, in lieu of the Coinbase incident and a couple other major ones that we've seen in the last quarter, I wanted to kind of explain what I wrote about on when I say, hey, this is the lack of cloud monitoring, and this is how it causes data breaches. And so the way that I wanted to demonstrate that to you guys is to kind of explain the importance of activity monitoring, um, and a couple of other major things. And so when we start with the Coinbase incident in particular, among many others, there's been a couple high-profile data breaches, but the Coinbase attack was kind of out of the ordinary in a number of ways. And so it was really more of a social engineering scheme rather than a cyber attack. And so basically what happened was cyber actors bribed Coinbase support employees who were working from overseas outside of the US to exfiltrate the data on their behalf. And while it kind of seems simple, there's a number of considerations, right? And some of them could be prevented and some of them couldn't. And some of them are, why did the overseas employees have access to so much sensitive customer information? And I can't answer this question, but was it required as a part of their role? Was it a permissions issue? Why were the overseas employees allowed to download or even exfiltrate the sensitive information? And what other actions could they have taken? Could they have encrypted the data? Could they have set off an internal initiated ransomware attack? There's a number of considerations here, and what I want to talk about is that how activity monitoring could have prevented this data exfiltration, regardless of permissions mishaps or a number of other situations. And so this is pretty simple. Activity monitoring is usually comprised of signature-based monitoring and anomaly detection. And while signature-based monitoring looks like a ransom note, it looks for a ransom note, for example, being dropped into a bucket. The anomaly detection is something that looks for something out of the baseline, right? So mass encrypts, mass reads, mass writes. And if that baseline has determined that, hey, even though maybe these are Coinbase employees had a little too much permissions to perform their job, they're not doing anything bad with it. That's no big deal. But if they start to exfiltrate that data, that's a problem. And that's something that an activity monitoring solution can alert on and then shut down. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate this just a little bit for you guys. And so this is our query builder. And this is what our activity monitoring solution kind of works on. And this is probably the best way to demonstrate this. But what a good activity monitoring solution is looking for is going through the logs, right? And it's looking for the baseline. It's comparing current actions or recent actions against that baseline, to detect an anomaly. And so if we go here, let's use a testing bucket and let's kind of build a query here. And so what this is doing is this is looking through CloudTrail logs to kind of find all of the actions taken against a bucket or against a resource, or in many cases, you can see here, by event name, resource type. So it could be all Amazon S3 buckets, location, account ID, whatever that might be. And you can use as many filters as you like to kind of get the data set that you need to answer your questions. And so as we see here, this is a testing bucket, right? And so what this shows is over the last 7-ish days, we have a lot of puts and we have a lot of gets. And so what this would represent and what our activity monitoring solution is doing on the back end here is it's looking at these put and these get objects. And this is a testing bucket. So it's really no big deal, frankly, if we're, writing or deleting or grabbing or downloading a lot of objects all the time. That is the baseline that is expected for a testing bucket. However, if we were to see 500,000 put objects from a different user, for example, something that indicates that somebody's taking, of course, there's no real data in our testing buckets, but if there were, and somebody downloaded 500,000 rows of that particularly sensitive information, that's kind of how the solution works, and it would be able to shut it down. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any questions, reach out to me. This is just a very short overview of why organizations need activity monitoring, particularly to kind of fill the gaps in their cyber resiliency, cybersecurity strategy. Thank you very much for tuning in, and talk to you guys soon.